a lot of people are asking, yes, nearly a week later, why has no independently verified evidence, come out, video, ballistics, or even a single credible witness outside either camp surfaced? And Dr. Chiputa talked about, them being surveilled for 2 years. So if the surveillance was real, why did they wait until election night of all nights to actually move in? Because now a former cabinet minister is dead. Amnesty International is also calling his killing deeply alarming and demanding a transparent probe. Dr. Mpambi, what does this tell you, that days later we still don't have an official account of how exactly he died? What does he say?
Well, thank you very much. It is sad. We saw it coming. I remember on this platform a few days before elections and even weeks before elections of Zambia, we actually flagged the indicators. Bloodshed did not start particularly on the night of elections. We saw the pre-election environment. It was actually culminating into this. And it is this is my first time for me to hear of a government that incubate a militia base for 2 years without doing anything except the night of elections. I want to believe that this statement is playing politics, buying in time. Probably the incumbent now President-elect Hichilema, Kainde Hichilema, he may be trying to see how best to bounce back probably and stabilize the communities, which is what I think is key, because at the moment for them, it's no longer about what happened on the night. It's no longer, in my view, about what necessarily took place and preparing evidence. But the onus is within those who allege anyway. I don't think the opposition should approve anything. Probably they can proceed to clarify, but by now, government should have showed something that is a bit credible. And I think this is the dirtier side of politics. When we say politics is dirty, and the way sometimes it tends to frame issues. I'm sorry to say this. I think this is just a dirty politics because honestly, the brutality, the killings, there is evidence. Here is an opposition leader, a former minister, Kafwaya, who is dead. What else can they prove? We have seen people being abducted. We have seen a lot of torture. We have seen all this violence. We even saw probably a breakdown of the electoral system at one point, simply announcing that we're no longer counting, we are no longer proceeding, and that should have told you that something has been happening. But I think at the moment, President HH, he has to prove. President HH, I think he is focusing on consolidating the ground, considering he is now president-elect. I don't know whether to say congratulations, but I think he is now the president-elect. The onus is on him to stabilize the ground, account for every life. I think this is what matters at the moment for the people of Zambia, the economy of Zambia. At one point, all the shops were closed. People are under fear and there's tension everywhere. Opposition leaders, some are fleeing, some are hiding. So those are the issues. That incident is a mark. That night is a mark.
All right. That's actually an important statement you just raised, that the onus is on him to stabilize the country. Now, let's come back to Dr. Chiputa, because Brian Mundubile had explicitly alleged that armed military personnel interfered during the vote count during the elections, asserting that military involvement during the vote count altered the final results. Now, Brian is avoiding police custody, under the protection of what's described only as a known international organization. We do not know who it is, but the UN chief, Volker Turk, has come out to, say that everything should be stable in the country. So what does it say about trust in Zambia's institutions right now, that an opposition leader feels safer with a foreign body than with his own police?
Well, that's a huge challenge that we are facing at this critical point in our history as a nation, particularly that it pertains to election results. It certainly does send fear because the police are not arresting people. The military are not arresting people. You just hear someone has disappeared, the government would deny. A few days later, you are told he is in the custody of the police. So we don't know who will disappear when. And those that were picked last week, including the musicians who were arrested a few days earlier. I think for now, perhaps we are beginning to hear that the musicians are being charged. Those musicians who were traveling with Brian Munduvile during the campaign, that they are being charged. But for those that were picked in the night of that incident, we are yet to hear what charges are being preferred against them. We are yet to hear when they will appear in court. But our laws do state that within 48 hours, someone must be presented before a court of law, or they should be given bail through a court, or they should be given police bond, depending on the charges. But then we do not know the charges.